We're in San Luis, Mission San Luis, still Tallahassee. Standing in front of the fort. This is one of the most historically significant sites in the hemisphere, without any exaggeration. This mission was established in the early mid 17th century, at a time when there was no one in this area, no Europeans in this area. And we're going up into the fort, the blockhouse, what would have been used to protect this area. For many years, the Spanish held sway over this area without any threat of anyone else intervening. However, in time, the English came to eye this area and covet this area. And the Spanish became more and more aware that the English were going to eventually encroach upon the area, and they built a fort a more extensive fort to protect against that. The first thing any European power would do would be to build a fort, a military presence, a military area of protection, regardless of what would be out in the surrounding area in terms of settlements and missionizing and evangelizing and all those sorts of things. The first and foremost priority would be military protection, which is only common sense. So again, immediately in 1704, right before the English allied with the Creek, were on their way here to basically, attack this fort, take it over, essentially. The people here burned this fort and everything around it to the ground and evacuated the area. And here it shows the areas that they dispersed from and to. Some went deep into Florida, some went to Georgia, some went to Alabama, some, went over to Mexico. So, and I think it's significant to note that the Apalachee, who had been here since prehistoric times, never again repopulated this area. This area was never re-inhabited by those natives. What we know as the Seminoles, which was an amalgamation of whomever was left over, the Creek Indians, and black slaves, runaways. Inhabited this area and all of Florida. By that time, all the other Indians were fading out. Disease, war, encroachment. Very austere. Spanish flag. We're obviously not meant to go up there. So, again, we see the dirt floor. some of the accoutrement of the time. An old replica of a map of this hemisphere. Of course, the Spanish first having landed in Mexico, Cortez, in the early part of the 16th century. Basically, that was their headquarters for, this looks like an officer's or commander's quarters. This wouldn't have been the regular guys for sure. This would have definitely been somebody of note hanging out in here. Here we have some 6-pounders, looks like. Not much to it in terms of what it would have looked like in the day. Now, if these palisades are where they would have been in 1704, then this would have been a very small fort indeed. We have the blockhouse, which would not have been made of wood. We have the firing slits, and we have the cannon on top to be able to see out. But this whole area would have been a hub of activity. There would have been tents all over the place. This is where the enlisted guys would have been, guys on guard duty, etc. There would have been a row of platform along here made out of wood that would have allowed a person to look out over into the surrounding area. And of course, this fort never saw action. It was burnt to the ground before the British got here. Powder horn. May or may not be a place for really short guys to sleep on. Ooh, looks like an old kiln. Not original, but maybe sometime back in the day. Excellent reproduction nonetheless. We got the water pots. Reminds me of the urns the Egyptians used to keep the body parts in. So that's it. This is the reproducted, or is it reproduced? I'll go with reproduced. Blockhouse at the mission of San Luis. The original being burnt down 2 days before the British got here to evacuate this area in 1704. All right, we're on to Jackson Mound.